When I first walked into Cowango Studios in Paducah, I think what hit me was the diversity of art that David Lucht and Stefanie Graves created. Here are two very talented artists that let us come into their home and studio.
But I think of artists as doing a useless craft. I think they're craftsmen, and they do something that really, I mean, you can't drink it out of it like a mug, out of a ceramic mug. You could save your money and, you know, buy a table or something that you can put to use. But
art is useless in the sense that it's not utilitarian per se, but the fact that it touches our soul is the thing that makes it valuable. It adds value to our lives and to our world. My art is very realistic watercolor paintings. I do a lot of paintings about nature and the natural world around me. I'm really fascinated with nature, animals, and also different cultures. We've traveled a lot around the world and different people from different areas that we all consider kind of exotic. I'm very interested in that and fascinated, so I do a lot of paintings of people from around the world.
I tend a little more towards painting people, relate very much to the interaction of people, the way they communicate their friendships, the way they honor their religion, the way they deal with their family, putting bread on the table and so a lot of my subject matter has to do with interactions with people. My media is batik painting, and so batik comes out of the world of fabric design. It's pretty much done in every region of the world. It's a process of wax applied to cloth. So you can either use cloth, you can use paper, or I use wood, also 3 different substrates. You apply the wax to the material, and then you do fabric dyes to get your color. So it's a process of working backwards from light to dark. You analyze the image and you use the light areas first, applying the wax. Every time you put wax in the cloth, it locks the color in, and then you go with a lighter color, apply that, and then lock down that color. So you're really kind of working backwards. And then the wax all comes out at the end. You iron out the wax. In the case of cloth, you iron it between sheets of newsprint. Wax comes out, and then you use a little mineral spirits to get that final little stain out of the cloth, and then ready for framing. So hopefully you see something good, but you're kind of obscuring the image as you go along, which is kind of the fun part. At the end, it's a revelation, you know, what happens at the end when you get the wax out.
I think I always had problems with considering myself an artist, at least for a long time, until we got involved with a cooperative gallery in Oak Park, Illinois, outside of Chicago. But at that point, I was still working in healthcare and painting as much as I could. So it always felt like I was maybe a poser or something. I had entered a couple of shows simultaneously. I was new to this experience of entering different art exhibitions, and these particular shows were conflicting ones. That is, that they were going on at the same time and there were overlapping images. I got accepted to the show in Wyoming, and I also then, a few days later, found out I was accepted in the show in Chicago. And so when I took the paintings to this particular show in Chicago, I had to admit to them that I couldn't give them the one painting, but because it had been promised to the show in Wyoming. And she said, "You're kidding, but you're not supposed to have done, you shouldn't have done that." And I said, "Well, I didn't think I would get in." And she looked at me and said, "Are you kidding? Your art is wonderful. You should be showing all over the country." and I just burst into tears. I think that was kind of the beginning of my ability to say with some self-assurance that yes, I really am an artist. And it's an identity that a lot of people, especially like me, who are self-taught, have difficulty with. It's hard to reach that point where you feel comfortable with that moniker.
I think most artists, they come to realize that, early on you have a really inspiring art teacher like I did in 4th grade, had us do wonderful. I mean, I was sewing applique in 4th grade. I still have this piece tucked away pretty ugly, but it was the beginning of that whole process. And I talk about being a useless craft. That it doesn't apply, I think, as a child grows up. There's so many very useful skills that are involved in art making. It's that problem solving. You're presented with an issue of, can I make something happen? I have an idea in my head, can I get it to happen? And then you have somebody coaching you along that process. So teach people, how to get by in the world and do their numbers and learn how to read. Absolutely required, but absolutely required also is the ability to do things that make life more.
And that's the thing that a lot of people, when they're looking at budgets, forget. The National Endowment of the Arts right now is under threat for budgetary cuts from the federal government, because when we look at what do we really need, and many times we think we don't need art, but we need art hugely in times of crisis and stress. It gives us something more than we can touch, and that's the beauty of it, and we need to remember that.